I'm Giuseppe Capana and I'm the Product Safety Engineer for Electrical Safety First. Today we're going to talk about extension leads and some of the dangers with these. If you've got lots of products to plug in, make sure you plug them into separate socket outlets. Now that doesn't mean plugging one socket outlet into there and another one into there, because this is the same socket outlet. So both extension leads are plugged into the same socket outlet. Now, if you've got loads of low power appliances, it's probably not such a big problem. However, if you have high powered appliances, things like we're talking about washing machines, heaters, we're talking about dishwashers, these sort of large appliances, if you plug lots of these products into the same extension lead and then they're plugged into the same socket outlet, you will overload this socket outlet. The other thing not to do is daisy chaining. Now, daisy chaining, what we're talking about is plugging one extension lead into another extension lead. We've all done that. And it means that all the current from these two extension leads is all being drained through this one socket outlet. And there's a real risk that you will overload the socket outlet if you have high powered appliances plugged in. Each extension lead will have a plug fitted, and that plug will have a fuse. That fuse is your overcurrent protection for your extension lead. Now, if you see an extension lead that says surge protected, surge protection does not protect you against overload. It only protects you against an overvoltage for something such as a lightning strike. It's also important to make sure that if you've got surge protected extension leads, that you've bought them from reputable retailers, because there are very strict requirements for surge protection, and if your extension lead does not meet those requirements, it could catch fire. Here I'm going to give you an example of what it looks like if you've overloaded your extension lead. So here's one that we found, and you can see that the plug has overheated. You can see this yellowing here of the plug. That's where the fuse has overheated, and you can see also that it's cracked. And you can see here where, it was just about to catch fire. So that's why it's very important. Do not daisy chain your extension leads and do not overload them with large appliances. So let's talk a little bit about adapters. If you do need to extend the number of socket outlets you've got on your fixed socket outlet, the best way to do it is use a extension lead which has a cable and a number of socket outlets, or you can use one of these block adapters. The block adapters will either have 3 or 2 outlets on there. If it's got 2 outlets on there, it may not need a fuse. So if you see one that's got 2 outlets, doesn't have a fuse, that's fine. If it's got 3 outlets or more, it is a requirement that it's fitted with a fuse to make sure that it doesn't overload. You may have seen these type of products. These are called T-bar adapters. Now, from June 2026, there are new requirements. These type of products will only be allowed to have 2 socket outlets, and they will need to be equally spaced across the center bar. If you find one that has 3 socket outlets or more socket outlets, it will not meet the standards from June 2026. So if you come across one of these type of products with these type of socket outlets called universal socket outlets, stay well away, because these do not meet any standards in the UK and are quite often very dangerous. In an investigation that we did, we found issues with earthing, we found issues with, like you can see here, I can actually see the live parts through the shutter. So it's got shutters, but the shutters are not effective. This one here also has USB ports, and if it's got USB ports, if it hasn't been tested to the standards, it's quite likely that there may be issues with the isolation between the mains and the output that you can touch, which means that you could get an electric shock from one of these items. So any item that's fitted with one of these universal socket outlets, make sure you stay well away. Go to our website and use the overload calculator to make sure that you're not overloading your extension leads.